Further debate. The member for Barrie.
Thank you, Speaker. It's a pleasure to be able to stand today and speak on Bill 105, supporting Small Businesses Act. As we know, this amends the Employer Health Tax Act by increasing the exemption amount from $400,000 to $450,000 effective in 2014. It imposes a $5 million payroll threshold, which could be a problem, and provides special rules for registered charities. Speaker, this is something I know a little bit about. My family's been in small business for over 4 generations, starting early days selling tractors in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and in the 1920s, and eventually after the Dust Bowl, moving to Ontario and moving into the car business, was selling Studebakers right up to Toyotas today. It is interesting, though, to see how a business grows. I've had the opportunity to start and grow my own small business before I had the privilege of taking the seat in this House. And I got an idea of what it takes to grow a business and to employ people and the challenges that are attached with that. In fact, I remember distinctly as a child coming home one day and my house was for sale because my dad had to sell it to be able to make payroll. Part of the reason, if you talk to a lot of business people, and I do, every summer whenever I'm home, I make sure I go and talk to all the business people in Barrie and find out what are the challenges that they see that prevents them. The question I was asking is, what prevents you from hiring more people? What prevents you from growing to the size you want to be and employing the number of people and creating the amount of profits you want to have so that you can afford to hire more people? And the number one thing they tell to me is the regulatory burdens that they have. The payroll taxes that they have, and just the kind of plethora of red tape that they encounter on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of them simply don't have the resources to be able to deal with these in an efficient manner. They end up doing the owners of these businesses end up doing it themselves in many cases, especially small businesses. And you know, frankly, they should be focused on doing what they do best, which is employing people and creating jobs in our communities. And it is, I think, important in the context of this bill to remember exactly what is the engine that drives our economy. The engine that drives our economy is small business. I mean, it is, you know, it's a shame when we talk about the major employers like Heinz and Caterpillar and any number of them, Barrie, I could say Molson's and Fresilla and Black & Decker and General Tire that have all left and gutted our manufacturing economy in my own town. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of people in Ontario are employed by businesses with 4 or less employees. That's an incredible statement to make. A lot of people, you know, we focus a lot here in this place and as politicians in general at every level, and certainly even media talks about, these big business losses get a lot of attention, and so they should. It's very sad that our manufacturing sector is getting gutted the way it is because of the high hydro costs, because of the high payroll taxes, and because some of the bad practices of this government over the past 10 years. But the fact remains, we need to be able to support those that employ the most people in Ontario, which is small business. And even though this threshold talks about a $5 million threshold for payroll tax, it sounds like a lot. It is a lot. $5 million. Let's not kid anyone. $5 million is a lot. The fact is, though, a lot of these businesses, small businesses, family-owned businesses, meet that threshold very quickly. When you have, you know, between 30 and 60 well-paid employees working for you, you're going to meet that threshold very, very fast. And this bill doesn't help them. This bill puts them in a difficult position. We know what we've been saying about this bill from the very beginning is that it just doesn't go far enough. In fact, it's, I would say, well-intentioned, and there's some good things in there. The problem is, Speaker, it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't do enough to be able to help those businesses, like I said, do what they do best, which is employ people and grow. I don't think anyone gets into small business to remain the same size. I don't think anyone gets in small business to employ 1 or 2 people or just themselves. They get in it because they want to be active in their communities. They get in it because they want to provide jobs for people in their communities. They get in it because they want to be profitable. And if we nickel and dime them at every turn and make it more difficult for them to do business, like this bill does, it actually, in this case, it actually, you know, employers told us what they needed. they were flat out ignored by the Liberals and the NDP when it came to the amendments, and they voted against our $800,000 amendment. Our amendment was to increase the employer health tax exemption to $800,000, which was called for by the CFIB, and it would have saved small businesses thousands of dollars annually. This could be the difference between them hiring another person or not. So this really. This new legislation means that businesses with $5 million more in payroll will no longer be able to claim a tax exemption on the first $400,000 of their payroll, increasing taxes on family-owned businesses like Canadian Tire, which is in many cases a small family-owned business by the definition, the independent grocer, for example, or the local car dealer, by thousands of dollars. So why the two other parties voted against our amendments to eliminate this $5 million cap is really quite confusing. I think what we're doing here with this cap isn't trying to stymie the bill as much as we are trying to create jobs. We're trying to open the door to let these small businesses that employ the majority of people in Ontario grow and employ more people. And when we employ more people, we put more money into our economy, more people paying taxes, we grow. So I'm not quite sure what the resistance is to this amendment. I think it probably should have been a fairly innocuous one, really. I don't know if it's stubbornness or some other games that are getting played along the way, but it certainly is frustrating to see at a time when these small businesses, like I said before, that employ the majority of the people in our economy need the help. They're already getting nickel and dime to death on their hydro rates. They're getting nickel and dime to death on development charges from municipalities. They're getting nickel and dime on, you name it. You turn every single corner, whether it's WSIB or employer taxation. I mean, we already have the most payroll taxes in Canada, $9,970. And that source, by the way, if anyone wants to know, is the Toronto Star. So we know that we're not being competitive. We have to remember that in Ontario, we're not just competing with the other provinces, which, by the way, we're at the bottom of the pile. We're competing with the United States. We're competing with all those. Let's just start with the border states. Let's start with New York and Ohio and Michigan and Indiana, and let's talk about all those states that have made some pretty dramatic changes to their taxation structure, to their labor laws, to any number, you pick it, because they realize they need to be competitive and mobile. They need to change. We need to change the way we do business in Ontario, or we're not going to be able to catch up with them. They're running away with this. Not to mention our foreign competitors. We're in a global economy now. We need to be able to compete. Small businesses even. I've talked to a number of small businesses that I'll give you one example. Moore Packaging in Barrie, who gave me the opportunity to cut my teeth working for them as a young man. Not that I'm still not young. But when I gave me my first opportunity to work with them as a human resources manager early on, a company that employs 300 or 400 people, all of a sudden now went from being a local business that was importing packaging products across Ontario and in fact Canada, is now competing with companies from China because they can import and develop these products faster with less red tape and get them to the Toronto market as fast or even faster than they can, because they haven't been able to make the capital investments that would allow them to be able to get their market to Toronto, 90 kilometers down the road, as fast as it takes their competitors from China to get it from overseas. This is the kind of competition that we need to be able to get our feet into. We need to be able to provide our businesses in Ontario with the ability to be able to fight back, be competitive, provide a quality product, employ more people, get more people to work in high-paying jobs in Ontario. This bill limits their ability to be able to do that. And frankly, it's very, very disappointing. This bill will, in fact, it's another window dressing bill. Like I said, I think it's intended well, and it has potential actually to be a very productive bill. But it has a minuscule benefit for Ontario businesses in the overall framework, which is a shame. I mean, we need to do more than window dressing at this point. We need to do more than just kind of make a point that yes, we care, and to show you we care, we're going to create this bill. We need to actually do something of substance in here and help these businesses get off the ground, off their knees in many cases. The Liberal policies have tripled hydro rates in the past decade, increased taxes through WSIB. College of Trades fees, among others, and dramatically increased red tape regulatory burden on businesses. I know local businesses I've talked to want to make some expansions, and they won't do it because they know the regulatory burdens that will get put on them, the development charges that get put on them, that's a municipal thing, but still, the amount of charges that will get placed on them will prevent them, in this case, from hiring 60 more people. They're going to go down the road, probably to the States, to do that. This bill doesn't help those people. It doesn't help jobs in Ontario, and we need to make some amendments to make it work.
Thank you. Questions and comments? The member for Algoma Manitoulin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And you know, 'tis the season to be jolly, and I also want to wish everybody here a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Everybody, I hope you're going to be safe and enjoy your holidays, and all of the people in Algoma Manitoulin. I'm looking forward to coming to the various suppers. As you can see, I love the food that you cook for me back in Algoma Manitoulin, and I certainly enjoy being invited to your tables. Pardon?
I would like to say from my friend, the Minister of Transportation, we've resolved a bit of problems in Algoma Manitoulin, and I have good news for my riding, and I'll give you good. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all the families. And I have to talk about Bill now.
I agree with the member. You know, this bill doesn't exactly go far enough. There are other measures that we can certainly be helping, not only small business, but Ontarians as a whole, by looking, you know, it's great to see that the exemption on the $400,000 is going to be increased to $450,000 and is going to mean something for small businesses. But for the larger ones who actually don't need this cut, we should be looking at keeping that revenue so that we can service Ontarians and provide that those much-needed revenue dollars for this province. And we should also look at closing the corporate tax loopholes that are going to be implemented through the HST input tax. That is something new that is going to be created that we can actually save dollars and keep those dollars in the pockets. But if we want to really help small business, why don't we look at the cuts that have happened through the kiosks through Service Ontario? That is having a huge economic impact on small businesses across Northern Ontario and across this province, because people are continuously dealing with licensing issues and not having service or access to their Service Ontario counters. So if we're going to be really sincere about helping Ontarians and small business, let's look at the root cause of what's causing these problems.
Thank you. Questions and comments? The Minister of Labour.
Thank you very much, Speaker. First of all, to you and through you to all the members, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's a great privilege to serve in this legislature on behalf of the great community of Ottawa Centre, and I'm very much looking forward to continue the service in the new year. And I wish everyone and their families a very Merry Christmas and a very prosperous new year to come. Speaker, great opportunity to speak about Bill 105, supporting small Business Act. Yesterday when I spoke on this bill, and by the way, this bill has now gone about 22 hours of debate. I think we've heard all the point of view a few times over, and it's time that we pass this bill so that our businesses can benefit from it in the new year. Yesterday when I